Let's move on to some climate change news. This is a weird, well, not weird, but tweet about the high heat in Siberia. The heat in Siberia has been nothing short of astonishing. Well, yes. In fact, it's what some climate models expect to be normal 80 years from now. So, you know, half of this statement is true. And, you know, adequately alarming, but 80 years? Are you sure? Because we're experiencing it right now. That's the thing, you know, it's weird to me that people are like, yeah, it's going to be really bad in 50 years or 80 years when they're talking about things that are happening right now, right? Like, you know, hurricanes or high heat or high temperatures or floods or sea level rise. They're like, yeah, it's going to be really bad in 2100 when they're talking about it happening right now. So I'm like, you see that there's the disconnect between your prognosis or your projection and the fact that it's happening right now. Do you think you might want to move up the timeline just a little bit? Right? Do you think maybe it might be faster than that? Do you think maybe, you know, these temperatures, well, these temperatures are lasting, you know, consistent and long lasting right now. In 2020, in the last 6 months, we've had high heat and high temperatures in Siberia for 6 months straight. And you're talking about it being the normal in 80 years. Like, there's absolutely no logic or sense to that statement. The fact that it's normal right now, it's the norm right now. And if you're going to say, like, tell people that in 80 years this could be the normal, I think you might want to update that, you know, to maybe, gosh, and, you know, even 2050, which is 30 years away, would be probably optimistic that, you know, it'll be the norm then. Especially when you're saying it's the norm right now. Anyways, let's look at what was linked there. Oh, again, well, this is, you know, of course, 2020 likely to be the warmest year on record globally. Well, and likely, the word likely is probably appropriate while the public's attention is consumed by concerns over the global pandemic and protests against social injustices. The chronic condition of climate change continues to escalate. In fact, it's becoming more and more likely that 2020 will be the hottest year globally since records have been kept dating back to the late 1800s. How about that trifecta of global pandemic, protests, and climate change? So yeah, you know, we know this is happening. We've already talked about this. We've been talking about this every single day. There actually was another good graph somewhere. Here's Australia December mean temperature. Here's where we are. And apparently, so this says, Australia, you have just experienced the future, right? So this is normal at 2.5 C global warming, where they're at right now. So, you know, when it gets to be 2.5 C, this is going to be normal, but we're experiencing it right now. What does that mean? Does that mean that somebody's not giving us correct data? Does that mean that the global temperature is actually higher? Does that mean that the global temperature is about to be higher? What does that mean? Anyways, again, the ridiculous idea that we have so much time left to deal with this. The ridiculous reality that people aren't rampaging through the streets, like saying, that's it for capitalism. We're done. That's all, folks. That's it for industrial civilization. That's all. We're done. Anyways, this is an article from The Hill. DC sues oil companies over climate change. This is from today. Washington, D.C. sued oil companies ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, and Shell over climate change on Thursday. The suit, filed by District Attorney General Carl Racine, alleges that the companies systematically and intentionally misled, I love to read it like that, consumers in Washington, D.C., missiled, pew, 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 about the central role their products play in causing climate change. Specifically, it accuses them of knowing about the impact carbon emissions would have on climate change since as early as the 1950s and promoting disinformation about fossil fuel products. For decades, these oil and gas companies spent millions to mislead consumers and discredit climate science in pursuit of profit. Well, no duh. The defendants violated the district's consumer protection law by concealing the fact that using fossil fuels threatens the health of district residents and the environment. This is so weird, though, because none of this could have happened without the support of the government. So, you're going to go out and sue these companies. I mean, that's great. Why aren't you suing yourselves for being complicit? Complicit. For giving subsidies to these companies, for supporting their entire business, for allowing research, drilling, and development of fossil fuel products or fossil fuel burning products since 1950, right? This is all done, they were all holding hands doing this together. So I don't know about that. But anyways, ExxonMobil spokesman Casey Norton told The Hill in an email that the suit's claims are baseless and without merit. Oh, poppycock. This lawsuit is part of a coordinated, politically motivated campaign against energy companies. Oh, my God. Norton said, legal proceedings like this waste millions of dollars. Shut your butt. Legal proceedings like this waste millions of dollars of taxpayer money. No, they do not. And do nothing to advance meaningful actions that reduce the risks of climate change. Here's a meaningful action, Casey Norton. Dismantle your entire company today, right now. That's a meaningful action. Or allow it to be dismantled or disbanded. That would be the most meaningful action you could take. Go out of business. Do not pass go. Liquidate your shares. Pledge all the money that you have in an offshore account, wherever it is you're hiding all your money and your profits. Pledge all that money to combat climate change or to help people transition into a new world. That includes climate change as a normal state of being. We agree that action is needed now on climate change. And these are really nice words that you're speaking here. I love these very, very good words. We fully support the need for society to transition to a lower carbon future. Lower carbon future sounds like some green growth to me, and we're committed to playing our part. Yes, of course you are. If you're part of the green growth train. As the energy system evolves, so will our business to provide the mix of products that our customers need. Sounds wonderful. Everybody can cash in and extend the economic and social benefits of energy access to everyone. These guys are the devil. I rebuke you. The lawsuit comes just one day after Minnesota filed a similar suit against ExxonMobil as well as the American Petroleum Institute and 3 Koch industry entities. Well, good. This is excellent. New York and Massachusetts have also sued ExxonMobil over climate change, though a judge ruled in Exxon's favor. Of course he did, because that judge is now rich. Right? That judge has a bunch of money in an offshore account somewhere, that was wired to him by ExxonMobil, right? Nobody knows he has it. Probably has a good couple of million in there. Maybe 10 or 20. Thanks, Judge. Did your job. These crooked bastards. Well, again, let's go back to the fact that 2020 has a very high likelihood of being the hottest year on record. This is from the Met Office in the UK from 2 days ago, June 23rd. The Earth's average temperature has increased by about 1 degree C. Of course, we're experiencing temperatures that would be normal in 2.5 degrees C. So, again, the conspiracy is not that climate change is a hoax. The conspiracy is that they're trying to tell you that climate change isn't as bad as it is. Climate change is much, much worse than they're letting on. That is the conspiracy, okay? Get it straight. Or don't. Which for the climate record is calculated as the period 1850 to 1900. That's their pre-industrial, right? 1850 to 1900. Okie dokie. Anyways, nice graph here. Here we are here, 2020, monthly global average temperature. We are above, right now, right at this moment, above 2016, which so far everybody has agreed has been the hottest year on record. But look where 2015 ended up, and look where 2019 ended up. And here we are picking it up, 2020 above 2016. Dipping below, but then going back above, and here we are again. It's a hot contest, pun intended, with 2016 for what will be the warmest year on record. Although this is an average, some regions are experiencing a much faster rate of warming. You don't say. Nowhere is this more apparent than parts of the Arctic, where melting sea ice is creating areas where heat from the sun is absorbed by darker ocean water, rather than being reflected back into space by highly reflective sea ice. This process is a key contributor to Arctic amplification of the warming rate and is an expected consequence of climate change. However, this is only part of the story. Parts of northern Eurasia have been experiencing extremely high temperatures this year. Monthly average temperatures were more than 10 C above average in some places due to a combination of climate change and extreme climate variability. Again, the norm that was supposed to be way in the future is now. The extra heat can be traced back to the record high Indian Ocean dipole in late autumn 2019. This led to a stronger winter jet stream, leading to extreme late winter warmth over Eurasia and a supercharged stratospheric polar vortex. Supercharged stratospheric polar vortex. Yes. I think that's going to be the name of my next record. Leading to persistence into spring. Once the higher than normal temperatures were established, reduced ice and snow only exacerbate the warmth. This record-breaking heat in northern Eurasia has helped to propel monthly global temperatures and has fueled two L's. I love how the English spell their words. Media headlines about 2020 being on track to the warmest year on record globally. But is that going to be the case? Whilst there have been some record months this year, overall 2020 is still not running at a record temperature compared to 2016. Although I don't know, there's differing data about that. The warmest year for global average surface temperature, Professor Adam Scaife is the head of Met Office Long Range Prediction. I didn't know there was a Met Office Long Range Prediction office. He said, we are likely to have seen the most extreme global temperatures already this year, as La Nina is now developing, and the final value is likely to fall back into our forecast range of 0.99 to 1.23 C. So while 2020 is running very high, there's no guarantee of a record this year. Note the global forecast for 2020 was produced in December 2019. Well, who's got bets on this year being the warmest? Is there a betting line in Vegas on whether this will be the warmest year? I'm curious. I am curious, man. I'm missing a lot of chats here. Yeah, guys. Who knows what's going to happen? This year is a year of surprises. This year is a year of couldn't have seen that one coming, or not. Poppy says I do hate that word poppycock. I wonder why. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to mix your name with the word cock. It's wrong. It's wrong what you're doing. We are talking about chickens, of course. Yes, Judy Truitt. Horrors that I might suggest that some judges are bought or corrupt. That would never happen. All these judges are fine, upstanding people. They just want to do their best for society. They really have good hearts, and they all have families that they love very much. That's why they needed $20 million in an offshore account, wired secretly to Switzerland from ExxonMobil, so that they can take care of their families because they just love their families. Uh-huh. Yeah, indeed, Kuro. Bitcoin has a huge carbon footprint. Cougar W says the warmest year on record will always be this year. I mean, it's looking like that's where it's going. If you want to, basically, chunk together the last 5 years and compare those 5 years to maybe the last 2 decades. This is the hottest 5 years ever on record in, the history of temperature record keeping. So we can discuss the variances of the last 5 years, but if you put those 5 years together and compare them to the other, all the other years on record, that clearly shows the trend is, blowing everything else out of the water. Osama says judges are not allowed to know science. Kuro asks, does BOE stand for Bring Your Own Environment? Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that the confluence of social injustice, economic injustice, a poor response to coronavirus, coupled with, a very poor response to climate change, and climate change, knocking on the door of our awareness, saying, hello, hello, hello. Remember me? I'm climate change. I'm here to kick your ass, right? So, all of those things will create, a situation where people are going to be very, very angry. And, if you want to, I'm sure that the powers that be are going to be like very pearl clutchy and very oh, these people are so angry. Why are they angry? Everything's fine. Stop bringing up all this bad news. Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop the wave of anger that is going to be unleashed in the coming, months or years, however long it takes. Let me see. I'm going to go back here. Scott Andrews, you said something about China flood. I have not seen anything around that. But I will check it out. I know that there's a lot of other things going on. I'm not covering everything that I possibly could cover. Let's let's cover it right now. You want to cover it right now? Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me go back here. This is from yesterday. Thanks for the tip, Scott. Worst floods. Oh my God. Worst floods in decades submerge Chongqing, South China. Wow. That's an incredible picture. Imagine living in those apartments. Holy crikey. The southwestern Chinese metropolis of Chongqing has experienced its worst floods in over 2 decades, as torrential rainfall batters nearly two-thirds of the country. Two-thirds of the country. On Monday, the city's Qijiang district, located along the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, saw water levels rise 5 meters above the flood line, the highest point ever recorded by the local hydrological monitoring station. Geez. According to authorities, officials estimate that more than 100,000 people in the district have been evacuated, while dozens of homes have been destroyed by the floods. I don't know. I'm not good with all the pronunciations of Chinese names. Zhu Yuan, a sub-district official, told Sixth Tone on Wednesday that this year's floods were mainly triggered by intense rainfall in the neighboring province of Guizhou. The rainfall in Qijiang wasn't actually that intense, but heavy downpours in Guizhou passed through here. The deadly deluges in southern China this summer have affected more than 11 million people in the provincial level regions. Guangxi, Guizhou, Guangdong, Hunan, Jingxi, Chongqing. According to the Minister of Emergency Management, the floods have also destroyed some 9,300 homes and ravaged 161,000 acres of farmland. That's very important, as the economic toll of the natural disaster exceeds 24 billion yuan, or $3.4 billion. At least 39 people have been killed or gone missing, the ministry said. In Chongqing, the floods have affected at least 210,000 people across 26 counties and sub-districts and raised fears of landslides. The flood damage is likely to grow as more monsoon rains are set to hit the country in the coming weeks. An overall warming climate has contributed to a heightened risk of extreme rainfall events. That is just, base level logical, according to the Yale Climate Connections, a publication affiliated with the American University. This is absolutely the new normal. Climate catastrophe. This is a climate catastrophe, these floods, which have been happening every single, if you've been paying attention, if you've been watching this channel, if you've been, looking at the news, even, vaguely out of the side of your vision, your peripheral, these floods, these storms and floods and intense, extreme weather have been happening, especially in China, in that area of the world, India, China, Japan, has been happening over the last few winters, every single winter. Record floods, record storms, record number of storms. This goes on and on and on. The climate change is now. The new normal is now. Tina Clark said 40,000 evacuated, and they worry about the enormous Three Rivers Dam failing. Wow. Yeah, I don't know about Karen. I'm gonna have to say Planet X, not a factor. Sorry. No, 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 ma'am. No, this is human-induced climate change. We have geoengineered the planet unwittingly and very sloppily. And it's not Planet X. It's not, the center of the Earth warming. It's not sun just doing something. It's not, this is not a normal thing. And literally every single scientist on this planet, except for like one or two, will tell you that, human-induced climate change is absolutely destroying the planet or will destroy the planet. Hey guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support the channel at the links below: PayPal, Square, and Patreon. Also, all of my live streams are available for listening on Patreon if you happen to miss them during the day. So you can sign up for my Patreon for as little as $1. If you want to go check out the live streams, they are all there. Thanks a lot.